Hello, my name is Pablo Arias with International Relocation Partner, and I wanted to introduce a good friend, Matthew. So let me tell you how I got to know him. So I've been doing international shipping and logistics for expats, mainly in Costa Rica, for many years. And every now and then, I get to move somebody from Panama to Mexico or some other country. So now we wanted to launch our office in Panama and being into the expat groups. And I wanted to connect with the most successful people in their different fields who are servicing expats. So I went online and I did a little survey. And this survey was asking who is the best real estate agent for expats that speaks English, that understands you. And in one of the groups, I got all kinds of questions, and many people said somebody and somebody. And to our surprise, or good to know, Matthew was, out of everybody, like the one who had more votes. He had 47% out of everybody. So I contacted him and I wanted to know what are you doing, Matthew, to be so successful as an expat real estate agent? What is it that you do? I understand you are an expat, and I do think that connects very well. But can you tell me a little bit more? But before that, introduce yourself. But maybe there are some customers or people that doesn't know about what we do, what you do. But introduce yourself as an expat. What are you doing in Panama? And then tell us, why you're so successful.
Well, Pablo, I appreciate the kind words and that incredible introduction. I'm going to have you come to my wedding in February as well.
No way.
Yeah, you can introduce me. I just try to be true to myself. I often ask folks who decide to work with me why they decide to work with me, because in Panama we have hundreds, if not thousands, of other people they can be working with, and genuinely, what I hear is they felt I was genuine. I just try to be honest. If the deal's not right for someone, I'm not afraid to tell them it's not right. I'm going to work hard so that people feel comfortable. A lot of the people I'm working with, it's their first time purchasing overseas, or it's their first time purchasing in Panama. And, we just want to, we want someone to feel comfortable, and make them reassure them that they're making the right decision. And really, a lot of that just comes down to being a genuine person. I don't want people to feel like I'm just kind of telling them what they want to hear. And sometimes it's, no deal is better than making a bad deal. So if the deal's not correct, we'll say, hey, walk away from this deal. We'll find the one that's right for you. And I think people tend to appreciate that.
Of course, 100%. And it happens the same in my industry. Oftentimes, we get a customer, I want to move my vehicle, or I want to do whatever. And we sit down and we explain the process, and people just do not realize it's complex. So if you don't have everything ready, you could have your shipping 3 months at customs, and that's going to be more expensive than if you just sell your vehicle and buy another one in Panama. We appreciate that. And I think people get to notice this. I mean, your industry, I think, is so competitive and so complex. Some people think it's easy. It's easy to be a real estate agent. I hear it all the time. The taxi guy, the taxi driver, sometimes he thinks he can find a property. And because, Panama has some regulations about this, but many other countries in Latin America, they're very wide open. And because of that, many people will just want to, provide advice and try to hook you with the best deal. And you end up being their cousin's property or their aunt property. So immediately something is not good. And having a transparent person that knows about it, to me, is so important and key. What are the areas you focus on? You have any particular area that you do work the most, that you know?
Sure. Panama has many different markets, similar to any global market. You want to see if you're going to be an investor or an end user. And then once you break that down, here locally, as far as location market goes, I try to focus mostly on Panama City and then the beach communities along the Gold Coast, which is the southern Pacific coast of Panama, all the way out to about Buenaventura, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Panama City. But beyond that, in my office, we also have mountain specialists that work and live in El Valle, Altos de Maria. And, here in the city, we're really plugged in. The company's been around for about 14 years. Our founding partner, Kent Davis, is also an American. And so we really tried to focus on that expat group because there's a lot of expats that are coming down here, folks that live and invest overseas or international living that are looking for somewhere to retire, to stretch the dollar, or just looking for a different type of lifestyle. You know, myself, I came down here thinking it was just going to be 2 years of living abroad. Kind of checked that off my bucket list of living outside of the United States. And I loved it so much, I decided this is where I'm going to live for the rest of my life. I've been here for 13 and a half years. And it wasn't always the easiest decision. In fact, my first 8 months here, I was actually living in David, Chiriquí, you know, bordering Costa Rica. And I hated it. You know, coming from Miami, I was like, oh my, what am I doing here? Like, it was like they dropped me in the middle of middle America, you know, in the farmland with no neighbors. And then I worked my way back to Panama City. And right away, you know, it was like a light bulb went off. It was kind of what I was looking for, the energy of the city, the nightlife, the restaurants. I often call it, you know, Miami light, but that lifestyle doesn't work for everyone. And so some people want to come down here and they want to be on a beach. Some people want to be here and they want to be up in the mountains where there's a cooler climate. So we try to accommodate, you know, everyone and what they're looking for.
Excellent. Excellent. I want to show a little bit of what you have. I mean, what you work. This is Panama. This is the company you work with, right?
That's correct.
Panama Equity. Years?
That's correct. 14 years Panama Equity has been in operation. I've been working with the company going on 4 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. And I also going to be putting labels here so people can know, you know, how to look for you. This is your website and Facebook and Instagram, so people can connect you and reach out to you. I'm really happy to connect with you, though.
Likewise.
I like to understand, what do you think, if there is one thing that you feel people find in Panama and they decide to stay? You know, there are many different reasons, and I understand location could be one of them, but there is anyone in particular that you see most of our expat community will say, this is it, I'm moving to Panama because...
That's a great question. It's hard to pinpoint one thing, right? You know, everyone has their own opinion. Some people say they just like the proximity to the United States. You know, if you're coming from Florida, you're coming from Texas, you're only about 2.5 hours, 3 hours away from being able to fly back to see family. You know, being Panama is the hub of the Americas, with Copa Airlines and with many of the major American airlines, you have direct flights to most of the major American cities. Same thing with Canada. You have direct flights up to Montreal, direct flights to Toronto. And then going south, you know, you have direct flights to most of the major cities in South America. So just being able to access all these different global communities is very appealing to a lot of folks that come down here. You know, another thing I hear a lot of it is there's no exchange rate. You know, here in the Panama, we exchange on the American dollar. That's a huge plus for folks coming down here, not having to worry about the fluctuation. You know, look at something like Colombia right now. Their exchange rate is, you know, you're looking at about $4,200 4,200 pesos to the dollar, and about 4 or 5 years ago that was 3,000 pesos to the dollar. So they're seeing a huge fluctuation for folks that decide to retire in Medellin, where their dollar is now really being extended, but they're also subject to the changing market. Here in Panama, it's on the American dollar. It's easy to transfer money down here, and you have large expat communities. Now, the expat communities here, you're not going to be just exclusive to the expat communities. Panama does a wonderful job of integrating their communities, their expat communities, with the Panamanian communities. So if you go out to something like Coronado, or even if you went a little further to Pedasí, you're going to be rubbing elbows with your Panamanian neighbor. And something that I found, a lot of Panamanians welcome, you know, foreigners with open arms. Especially if you show a willingness to try to integrate into the community. If you come down here and you stumble over yourself a little bit trying to learn the language, the Panamanians love it because you're just showing the effort. You're not coming down here expecting them to assimilate to you. You're trying to integrate yourself into the community, and Panamanians will give you the shirt off their back to help you feel more comfortable in your new home.
That's excellent. Here's your numbers. So I'm just going to leave there so people can reach out to you. I'm going to give you one last question. I think it's a tougher one. What will be the issues or the cons? If you can give me one thing that is a challenge for most expats and that could make people think, oh, I better just think it a little more.
I love that question. In fact, that's a question I ask a lot of my clients to ask of me. Everyone loves to say, what do you like about Panama? What made you stay in Panama? The most important question is, what don't you like? What do you miss from being back in the States or wherever your home country is located? My answer is I miss the lack of availability of options. So I grew up in Miami. If I were going to remodel my bathroom or remodel my kitchen, I could go to Lowe's, I can go to Home Depot, I can go to a mom and pop store, I can go, and I would have a million options of cabinets and countertops and sinks and appliances. In Panama, we're a much smaller country. We don't have easy access to all of that. I'm going to go to Do It Center, I'm going to go to Novi, I'm going to go to Coches, and I might have a dozen options, but a lot of those places are going to cross each other where, that's going to limit my options. Now, because of Amazon and because of some global factors, that's kind of changed, but I really do lack, I miss the lack of options. The other thing, if I were coming here for the first time, when I moved to Panama in 2009, I did not speak a word of Spanish. And just through being assimilated in the culture, forcing myself to learn the language, I taught myself Spanish being here in the street. So that was a big hurdle. And that's a hurdle that a lot of expats are going to have to figure out. This is a Spanish speaking country. You will want to learn, at least have a basic knowledge of the language. Now, I'm not saying you need to be fluent, but at least know a few basics to be able to get through your daily day-to-day.
Okay, and to finish this up, I want to share a little bit of our experience at Panama Business Club. So I reached out to Matthew, asking, to do a little networking, to talk about business, and to ask about what is he doing, right, as a real estate agent. And he invited me to the Panama Business Club. And it was great. My understanding is that you guys have a network of business owners or CEOs or people that work in their own business, and they get together twice a month.
That's correct.
Tell me more.
Oh, I'd love to. So Panama Business Club was started probably about 4 or 5 years ago, again, by Kent Davis. I've since taken over the reins within the last year and a half. And, we get together every other Tuesday. Typically, we're at the Global Hotel in Ovario. It's Global Hotel Panama. We meet at their lobby bar/restaurant. And really, it's like a mixer when you're in university. Just kind of go there, rub elbows, meet people. There's no agenda. There's no speeches. We just want to meet new people and see old friends as well. We've been established for so long. You get a lot of the same folks that come in. And then typically, we get a lot of new members that come in, and there's no dues. There's no financial commitment on your part. It's a cash bar, the restaurant, everyone, you're just going to meet friends. It's really, really wonderful, and making connections. One thing that's very important in Panama, and specifically in real estate in my industry, is you want to be a knowledge broker. So it just makes sense to meet people like yourself, Pablo, where, someone who's involved in shipping. We have several lawyers, immigration lawyers, personal injury lawyers, just all across all kinds of networks, IT, people that are creating apps, and it really covers the whole gamut. That you really have nothing to lose to come join this, to join us every other Tuesday. Really, I can't say enough good things. If you do want to join, shoot me a WhatsApp, shoot me an email, and we'll add you to the mailing list. It's really a wonderful way to meet new people.
Excellent. I do appreciate that, and I need you to add me to the list or to the WhatsApp group or whatever you want to call it, because I'll be coming to the Panama Business Club. And thank you very much. This is our time, 15 minutes. You can get to say goodbye, and hopefully we get to do more things together.
I look forward to speaking to you again, Paulo, anytime. Have a great evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.